Hi everyone, Brett Shemak here with my presentation for research paper number 2. The prompt for this research paper, as we are all well aware, was to choose one organization or business and outline how having a business continuity plan helped them succeed during a crisis, or how not having a business continuity plan caused the company undue issues during a crisis. So for this, I selected the Orange County Fire Authority, which on January 12th of this year, 2017, suffered a fire at their Station 61, located at 8081 Western Avenue at about 3:30 in the morning, which subsequently burnt the station to the ground and destroyed about $1.5 million of firefighting equipment, including a ladder truck, $1 million 100-foot aerial fire truck, one battalion chief Suburban, one swift water rescue vehicle, and one boat used for swift water rescues. And essentially the station was a complete and total loss. There were no injuries in this instance, and I sort of bridged the prompt and met the two extremes in the middle of not having a business continuity plan and having a business continuity plan, because the Orange County Fire Authority still doesn't have a formal business continuity plan on file. However, the actions that they took mirrored generally practiced business continuity standards, and it allowed them to be successful in responding to this event. And so I highlighted in here that it's always better to be proactive instead of reactive, and the fire service generally lacks in this area due to the nature of the job, where you receive notification of an incident, respond to it with little or no information, and have to react. And it's oftentimes very difficult to prepare for every situation. And so in this case, in their response to the fire at one of their stations, their actions mirrored business continuity plans very, very closely. However, I think they could still benefit from having a formal plan in place. So at around 3:30 in the morning, station caught on fire. The station captain, Larry Kurtz, immediately said the fire will not impact any calls for firefighting or paramedic coverage. We're a very large organization and we have plenty of backup apparatus and quarters. So immediately they're already starting to institute general business continuity standards in identifying alternate work locations, maintaining human capital, delegation of authority, and the reconstitution of operations in this case. So these standards that I just listed here come from the National Essential Functions outlined in the Federal Continuity Directive 1, FCD 1. And there's several included in those: orders of succession, predetermining delegation of authority, identifying alternate work locations and strategies, planning continuity of communications, maintaining vital records, maintaining human capital, testing, training, exercises, and reconstitution operations. So the ones that I picked out that the Orange County Fire Authority followed paralleled exactly, despite not having these in a formal plan, were the delegation of authority, identification of alternate work locations, maintaining human capital, and reconstitution of operations. So they did very successfully prevent undue issues during this crisis, despite the loss of over $1.5 million of equipment and ousting 36 firefighters based in the station and having to move them to a different location. And part of this is due to the fact that Orange County Fire Authority is a massive organization with 1,360 personnel running out of 72 fire stations. So relative to their overall operational capabilities, this one fire at one station has a relatively small impact. However, I think in this case of looking at it in sort of a case study, it really highlights the need for business continuity plans for similar organizations that are smaller, that don't have the advantage of loads of money and tons of firefighters that they can pull mandatory overtime in order to respond in a similar effective manner without the resources that the Orange County Fire Authority has. So, due to the paramilitary structure of the fire service, the power structure is clear and distinct from top to bottom with little lateral movement. And due to this case, the delegation of authority is generally clear and well known by all members of the department. So having this automatically built in allowed them to respond quickly and effectively right off the bat. The station captain, Captain Kurtz, was quoted again having plenty of backup apparatus in quarters, as well as saying backup vehicles are being outfitted and moved into the area. Plans are being made to use a local hotel or motel to house firefighters until more permanent accommodations can be worked out. So this is a little bit easier for a fire department in the sense that the service that they provide gets provided to a specific location and isn't necessarily mandated by where they're physically based. So in that sense, the alternate work locations is a little bit easier to manage, because really the work location as in terms of the service provided is at the scene of the incident. Maintaining human capital in Orange County Fire Authority is accomplished by the fact that they have 1,360 personnel, nearly all of whom are cross-trained to perform all functions of the department: firefighting, paramedicine, rescue, hazardous material response, almost all of it, both essential and non-essential functions. And so through this informal business continuity plan that they have, they address this well-known industry standard very, very easily. Lastly, the reconstitution operations are defined as the transition from continuity status to normal operations, which comes from the text written by Tucker in 2015, which are generally a longer-term aspect of a business continuity plan, where you're looking far out in the future. You're looking at having to rebuild buildings, critical infrastructure, all kinds of stuff. So when you look at it in terms of a fire department, it's slightly different, because like I talked about earlier, the service provided is on scene. So their reconstitution of operations in terms of the service provided, normal operations would simply mean that they're responding with the same apparatus and same qualified personnel that they did before the incident. So in that instance, it happened almost immediately with the backup apparatus and the additional personnel. In terms of looking at it longer term, which would also be included in a business continuity plan, they already had plans to replace the station. It was a 50-year-old station, so it was a little fortunate that this had happened, but it did adhere to their informal plan, which very, very closely mirrors business continuity standards, despite it being a little bit loose and not necessarily written down. So they were very successful in their informal business continuity plan, and they very closely followed industry standards. However, I do still think that they could benefit greatly from having a formalized procedure and a formal business continuity plan, likely modeled after NFPA 1600, which was a standard specifically designed for emergency management and response community. So the benefits to that obviously are great. A lot of this experience in the informal plan comes from people that have been there, done that, and have seen that, and may not always be there. So having a written plan down would definitely help solidify their ability to respond to any crisis that affects them internally, let alone crises externally, which is part of their day-to-day operations and day-to-day service. So overall, I think the Orange County Fire Authority did an excellent job responding to this internal incident. They had an informal business continuity plan, which definitely helped them succeed. However, I do think that they could benefit greatly from having a more formalized process. So that's my research paper number 2. Thank you for listening.